Hey folks, welcome back to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're taking a look at this guy right here, Cul-De-Sac Conquest by Atheris Games. And it is basically a game where you are trying to be the most annoying neighbor in your neighborhood. So that everybody else moves away and you get new people, hopefully better neighbors in your neighborhood. Which is kind of strange because I always lived under the auspice that we need to be good neighbors. But I guess this is one of those times where you can try to be the most annoying neighbor and not really feel any backlash on it. So let's go ahead and get down to the table and I'll show you how it works. So in a game of Cul-De-Sac Conquest, what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your neighbors to move out of the neighborhood so that better, newer neighbors will move in and take their place. In order to do that, you're trying to annoy the living daylights out of them by your separate antics, and then they in turn are trying to annoy you to get you to leave. So as you can tell from the very beginning, this is a game rife with pleasant feelings and non-confrontational spirit. Actually, it's a game that's simply all about take that. And so basically what you're going to be doing is, first of all, you'll get a roll card, and each roll card has a few elements that stay the same. For example, up here you have an icon that shows what you are very good at annoying other people with, and then you have a weakness that other people really annoy you at. And then you have your rage-o-meter. This tells you at what point you're actually going to leave the neighborhood and move away. And then you also have a special ability down here that tells you what the special ability does and how often or how many number of times you can use it during the course of the game. So as you can see here, the overly protective parents, their special ability is secure the neighborhood, install speed bumps and security cameras that annoy everyone but you. +2, which means that their rage-o-meters are going to be raised 2 notches. And then they can do that twice per game. So that's the overly protective parents. And then you have the cat lady, where it says, unleash your garage full of your 100 favorite cats upon the neighborhood, dealing +4 damage to all other players. You can only use that once per game, though. But you can see she's kind of set in her ways. It's going to take a lot of annoyance to get her to move out of the neighborhood. Then you also have the grumpy old man, where his rage meter is pretty much like the cat lady, where he's pretty set in his ways. It's going to take a lot of annoyance to get him out. But revenge, it says, immediately mimic an annoyance played on you, deals damage to both players 3 times per game. So you're kind of a you like to hurt yourself, or you don't care about hurting yourself. You just want to hurt other people whenever they hurt you. So that's the grumpy old man. He does have a lot of weaknesses and only one specialty, though. So that's the grumpy old man. And then finally in this game you have the hipsters, where it says copy the last player's annoyance and play it on another character, then proceed with your turn as usual. It does not count as your annoyance played that turn twice per game. And so basically what you're trying to do is get your neighbor's annoyance level up to their threshold of moving out so that they move away. And then the last person left standing is the winner of the game. But if you're the winner of the game, that means you were actually the most annoying neighbor in the game. So do you really win? Well, I'll leave that up to you. The annoyances are cards, red cards that you'll be playing out of your hand, but those aren't the only cards in the game. If you take a look at the different cards, you have blue cards, which are upgrades for your home, which actually lower your rage and provide a defense against other people's annoyances that they're trying to levy against you. You also have the annoyance cards, which are basically going to raise your neighbor's rage levels, whoever you play it on. You also have relax cards, like this meditation card, which lowers your rage and helps you out. Then you also have these self-annoyance cards. For example, spilling hot coffee on yourself boosts your rage by 3, and these are things that you do to yourself. Why would you play cards on yourself? Well, that comes along to how your game is actually played and how your turn plays out. On your turn, at the beginning of the game, each person is dealt 5 cards. On your turn, you're going to draw up to 6. So on your first turn, you're only going to draw 1 card and add it to your hand. And then you're going to be able to play 1 of each type of card out of your hand on your turn. So, for example, with this turn, I have 2 different kinds of cards. I can play 1 of each of them. So I may want to play this onto my house. I upgraded my house with a game room, which is going to lower my rage by 2 and provide a defense of 4 for later on. And then maybe I'll want to hurt somebody else. I'll take +3 over here for Forgetful Snake Charmer. There is just so much going on. What? Wait, where did the incredibly deadly Viper go? So there you have, that's rather annoying. So I would want to play that over here for +3. Now this is where your strengths and weaknesses come into account. Let's say that the overly protective parents were playing the Forgetful Snake Charmer on the grumpy old man. Okay, so first of all, we look at the icon that's up here in the top left-hand corner of the card, and if it matches my strength, it's going to be a +1 down here. So it doesn't match, so that doesn't take into account. However, it does match one of the grumpy old man's weaknesses, so this does get a +1 to it because it's a weakness that he has. So if I play this against the grumpy old man, he's going to have to raise his rage meter by 4 because it's 3 and it's one of his weaknesses, which is a +1. So I take my rage meter and I move it up to 4, and now everybody can see that my rage is starting to build. Now that is all I can play because I only had 2 different kinds of cards in my hand, so I can only play up to 2, 1 of each kind. So the grumpy old man takes his cards here and he draws 1, adds it to his collection. And so first of all, he's going to watch some TV in bed. That will lower his rage by 2. And then he's going to see, let's see, he's got the old cane. He doesn't have that as any of his abilities here, his strengths. But he does know that the parents over here definitely have this weakness. So we're going to go ahead and play that on them. So a self-conversationalist, you constantly mumble something under your breath every time you see me. Should I be concerned? So it's a 1 normally, but because it's one of my weaknesses, it's a 2. Now this 2 will go against my game room shield of 4. The cat lady takes a look at her hand. She has 2 different kinds of cards in there. She draws 1 to bring it up to 6. She doesn't have any rage right now, so we're not going to worry about playing any of these relax cards because you can never go down below 0. But we are going to, let's see, we don't have any of our specialty, which is animals. So we're just going to look for people's weaknesses, and it looks like we don't have anybody's weaknesses either. So we're just going to go for the gusto, and we're going to do 2. The Recycle Enforcer. Most people thought that doing our part to create a healthy, sustainable environment was voluntary. It is your mission to prove them wrong. So the Recycle Enforcer is going to be played on top of this other 2 that was played on the overly protective parents. And this is actually going to do away with their upgrade. And so the upgrade will come here to this deck, and these 2 will come over here. And now these guys are wide open once again. Now, one thing that I do need to mention is that the only time that orange cards are going to be played against you is when you're drawing cards at the beginning of your turn and one of them happens to turn up. So let's just kind of do this real quick. So basically on my turn here, I'm going to draw. I need to draw 2 cards. So I draw 1 and it's a Spill Hot Coffee. So that will automatically raise me up to 3. There's nothing I can do to defend against that. and that goes into this pile here. And then I still have to draw up to 6, so I'm going to draw another one and one more. And now I can play my turn as normal. So that's how the orange self-annoyance cards work. You don't defend against them because it's you doing something to yourself that raises your rage. So the game would continue in that fashion until there was one person left standing. And again, you can team up with each other and have alliances against one person or two people. You can have teams. You can really do whatever you want to do as far as that's concerned. It's kind of a sandbox in that kind of manner, in that you can pretty much do whatever you want in the game, but just realize there can be only one winner, or actually there can be only one really, really annoying neighbor. Everybody else is going to move away. So that is Cul-De-Sac Conquest. Now, it's a very interesting concept of a game, in that you're trying to annoy other people out of your neighborhood. With that being said, on the first step out, I don't like the fact that it has player elimination. I'm not against player elimination games. Bang the Dice game has player elimination, and it's one of my favorite games. Twilight Imperium 3 is one of my favorite games. Definitely has player elimination in it as well. It is a take that game at its core. There's nothing else that's really there. There's a little bit of defense on your own. And again, there's some relaxation cards that are in the mix there. But generally speaking, this is simply take that on other people. Whoever can do the most damage on other people first is the winner. And that's kind of lackluster, in my opinion, because it's just a card game. There's nothing else in here. I mean, there are these things, but these also kind of presented a problem because of its base system. If you knock it at all, it's going to fall over. There's nothing you could do about it. So there's that. I would have much rather preferred some type of markers or something like that on a track, on a board, or something to that effect. The board is really efficiently used. There's a lot of space on the board that could have been used for something to replace this by. And one of the cool things about the game is the fact that it comes with a player aid that shows you all of the different possibilities of characters that your other players can be, so you don't have to continuously be asking other people, what is your special ability? You just look to see who they are, then you can read it yourself. So this is a cool thing that they included in the game. Another cool thing about the game is the artwork. Now, I'm not usually one of those that, for this cartoony kind of campy looking artwork, I'm not really in on it. It reminds me of one of those Nickelodeon cartoons that from the like 90s. So there's that. I enjoyed the artwork. I thought the text on the cards, which was completely non-game essential. You did not need them. They were just flavor text. Didn't explain anything else that the card did, except, yeah. Just, it wasn't necessary. And all it did in the games that I played is that it slowed the game down because people got a new card in their head. They want to read it. And so the problem is you draw new cards at the beginning of your turn, not the end. Now, if you draw them at the end of your hand, at the end of your turn, then you have time to read because you don't have to take. But because you draw at the beginning of the turn, now I want to read the cards, even though what I'm reading doesn't have anything to do with the actual gameplay. Sounds like I'm being really negative here, and I apologize for that. But at the same time, there were times while I was playing the game that I was just bored. Because somebody was reading their text when it was their turn. I was like, come on, it's your turn. It's your turn. Please, come on, do whatever it is you're going to do so that we can get around. And other times, I didn't have anything I could really do on my turn. I had a handful of red cards, and all I could do was play one card, and now it's somebody else's turn. And then they have 3 different kinds of cards. So they can play this and play this and play this, and they had much more fun on their turn than I did on mine. And that happened a lot during the game. So I liked the concept of the game. I really wanted to enjoy it. It's just that the gameplay and how everything kind of hammered out there was anywhere from absolutely boring to, well, not really that fun. So at the end of the day, I'm going to give this a half a thumb up. And the reason I'm going to give it a half a thumb up is because I think this is going to have a lot of staying power in some pockets of our hobby. People who enjoy the take-that card games, they'll probably enjoy this a lot, and they'll have a lot of fun with it. We had a lot of fun playing the game, but it wasn't because of the mechanics. It was because of the group that we were playing with and the inside jokes that we could bring up with each other and laugh about some of the things that were on the card. But the actual game mechanics were actually kind of boring and I thought dated. So in that respect, I'm just going to give it a half of a thumb up. I think there will be people out there that will enjoy this game. More power to them if they do, just not for me. See you guys on the flip side.